I lost in truth or dare, and his friends egged me on to spend the night with his archenemy John Smith. Looking at Michael Brown, who showed agreement, I wiped my tears and walked toward John. "Hello, can we spend the night together?" Everyone was ready to laugh at me, but John, famously cold and aloof, nodded unexpectedly. "Sure." That night, Michael Brown blew up my phone on Do Not Disturb mode. The door to the private room swung open, and the campus beauty sitting next to Michael Brown looked at me. "Emily Davis, how come you're only now coming?" I panted. "The bubble tea shop was a bit busy today, so I'm late." "No matter what, you can't just show up dressed like that." As if realizing something, the campus beauty gasped. "Could it be that Michael Brown didn't even notify you about his birthday?" As soon as she finished speaking, everyone turned to look at me in unison. After all, Michael Brown and I were childhood sweethearts, and it was well known to everyone that I liked him. After high school graduation, I confessed my feelings to him once, and he rejected me then. "I don't want to date right now. Life is long, and there are many things I haven't experienced yet. If I ever want to date seriously, I'll definitely consider you first." Later, we attended the same university, and he had many girls around him, flirting with one after another. That's when I realized he didn't dislike dating, just enjoyed the feeling of flirting without commitment. After the campus beauty asked, I stood there awkwardly. Michael Brown had indeed notified me last minute. He had told me earlier that birthdays were the same every year, so he wouldn't celebrate this one. But unexpectedly, while I was at my part-time job, he suddenly texted me, "We're short one person for truth or dare, it's my birthday. So drop whatever you're doing and come now." I thought it was Michael Brown's birthday after all, and he had given me birthday gifts every year on mine. So after hesitating for a few seconds, I decided to ask my manager for leave. After sitting down, we played a few rounds of truth or dare but found it boring. So someone suggested playing King's Game. The campus beauty pinched her card and said excitedly, "I'm the king this round, how about we play a big one? Dare you all? Bring it on. Play. Anyone who chickens out will never get rich." "Yes. Yes." The campus beauty scanned the room, and when her gaze landed on me, I felt a chill down my spine. My palms started sweating as I clutched my card. "Then I'll begin. The person with the spade 4 and the person with the diamond 4 if they're opposite genders. The spade 4 invites the diamond 4 to find a hotel and spend the night alone tonight." I looked at the spade 4 in my hand and suddenly had a bad feeling. Whoa! The spade 4 is Emily. Someone with sharp eyes spotted my card and shouted excitedly, "Then who's the diamond 4? Everyone laid out their cards, and even Michael Brown showed his willingly, except for one person who hadn't revealed theirs. I glanced at the man sitting silently in the corner, legs crossed, hands folded on his knees, his chiseled face radiating an aloof, unapproachable vibe. That was John, Michael Brown's roommate, who had been top of the class for 4 years straight. His looks were so striking that groups of girls often went to see him, but he was also notoriously cold and hard to get. Even Michael Brown, who thought highly of himself, had to admit John's excellence whenever he mentioned him. "Holy crap, the diamond 4 is John." Someone peeked at John's card and yelled from the crowd. A bunch of people who loved drama started chanting, "Spend the night, spend the night, spend the night." I felt flustered and helpless, my eyes pleadingly turning to Michael Brown, hoping he'd speak up for me, but he played with a lighter in his hand, looking indifferent and slightly disgusted. "Emily, if you can't handle the game, don't come." A pang of bitterness shot through my heart. I forced a weak smile, tugging at the corners of my mouth, suppressing my embarrassment. I walked toward John, mustering my courage. "Hello, can we spend the night together?" I crumpled the card in my hand, my heart pounding wildly. Just as I braced for humiliating remarks, John slowly scanned the expressions of everyone around, his gaze finally settling on my face, his thin lips parting. "Sure." I heard several gasps. Is this the John the first? No. Wasn't John supposed to be cold and aloof, the most unfeeling person? I heard the campus beauty once climbed into his bed, and he heartlessly had her thrown out. What does Emily even amount to? John shot a sharp glare over, and the person instantly shut up. My mind was still blank when John stood up and strode toward me with long legs, an unbelievable warmth spreading at my waist. I stared at Song Ye's hand gripping my waist tightly, lost in thought for a moment. A cool voice sounded above my head. What are you still standing here for? Let's go. Looking at Song Ye's handsome face, I suddenly thought maybe he was bored here too, so he found an excuse to leave with me. Instantly, a sense of camaraderie washed over me. I nodded. Okay. Song Yu didn't say anything, picked up his coat nearby, and prepared to lead me away. Just as we reached the entrance, a slender hand blocked our path. Qin Yubai's eyes were fixed on Song Ye's hand still holding my waist. It's just a game. Why take it so seriously? Song Ye's gaze swept coldly over Qin Yubai. It's just a game. Yet you bully a girl like this. What kind of man does that? Gu Momo is just my puppy. I can play with her however I want. It's none of your business. Qin Yubai retorted angrily. As his grip loosened, I saw Song Yu swing his fist directly at Qin Yubai. Instinctively, I stepped in front of Qin Yubai. Song Ye's fist stopped just centimeters from my eye. His usually calm, deep eyes flickered with emotion. I heard frustration in his voice. Why are you so spineless? Without another word, he grabbed my hand and pulled me towards the door. Song Yu had long legs and walked fast. Slow down. I panted, almost having to jog to keep up. He stopped in front of a black car, opened the door, and practically shoved me inside. After buckling his seatbelt beside me, first time I'd been in such close quarters with a stranger, my heart raced uncontrollably. My words came out stammered. Where are we going? Song Yu stepped on the accelerator, the car moving onto the road. He kept his eyes fixed ahead. To a hotel. Panicked, I slapped the window. That was just a game. You don't need to take it so seriously. Let me out. Song Yu didn't stop the car but gestured with his eyes towards the rearview mirror. Qin Yubai stood at the club entrance with his friends, looking furious, held back by the group. Would you rather go back and be their plaything? He asked. The thought of returning instantly vanished. I slumped back into the passenger seat, resigned. The car stopped at the foot of a magnificent, gilded hotel. Like a zombie, I followed Song Yu to check in. Only when the keycard clicked into place did my senses return. Song Yu had booked a presidential suite. My room was right next to his. He produced a paper-wrapped bag from somewhere. I had a friend buy this dress earlier. Yours is dirty. Change into this, he said. My face flushed instantly. I carefully took the bag he offered, murmuring, "Thank you," before scurrying towards the bathroom. Being alone with a male stranger in such a space was nerve-wracking. My mind wandered even during my shower. I squeezed too much body wash without noticing until, stepping out of the shower onto a slick patch, I slipped and fell naked onto the floor. Ah! I screamed. The next second, Song Yu burst through the door from the adjacent room, a towel wrapped around his waist, his muscular upper body bare. He scooped me firmly into his arms. How could you be so careless? He asked, his eyes fixed on my rapidly swelling ankle. His long lashes cast shadows as he lowered his gaze. Before I could react, he was gently massaging the swollen area with his thumb. "I'll rub it for now. Then I'll take you to the hospital." Pressed nearly skin to skin, his fingers working my foot. A wave of heat surged through me. His face blurred before my eyes. Song Yu pinched my chin, his face coming closer. "Gu Momo, get a hold of yourself." After a moment, he cursed. "Damn it. Those bastards spiked your drink." His words faded. My body arched towards him, my arms looping around his neck, pulling him down. "Gu Momo, do you know what you're doing?" Song Ye's voice was strained as he lifted me onto the bed. The air thickened with tension. He leaned over, pinning me down. "I am so hot," I breathed, my lips finding his uncontrollably. lost to my actions. Song Yu went rigid, every muscle taut. Veins stood out on his neck as he seized my wrists, pinning them above my head. Snap out of it, he growled, just as his lips were about to touch my skin. An abrupt phone ring shattered the moment. I wanted to grab my phone, but John Smith snatched it away. Emily Davis, where are you now? Come back immediately. Michael Brown was shouting hoarsely on the phone, but my consciousness had already started to fade. So I kept clinging to John to lower my body temperature. John looked down at me, his eyes deep and unfathomable. Impossible to tell what he was thinking. His voice hoarse. There's no going back. John, what are you two doing? If anything happens to Emily Davis, I won't let you off. John ignored Michael Brown and hung up the phone directly. He lowered the hand I had wrapped around his neck, gave me a long look, then picked me up in a princess carry and tossed me into the bathroom. After being hung up on, Michael Brown didn't give up, calling one after another, the phone on the bedside vibrating constantly. When I woke up the next morning, John was already gone. I remembered last night after I was drugged. John didn't take advantage of me. Instead, he used cold water to suppress my desires. Later in the night, he called a doctor who ran around tending to me, and it wasn't until 2 or 3 in the morning that my urges were finally controlled, and I fell into a deep sleep, losing all memory. I was still dazed when I suddenly caught sight of a note in my peripheral vision. The handwriting was bold and strong, likely left by John. There's a basketball game in a few days, so I'm heading back early this morning to practice with my teammates. Call me if you need anything. Clutching the note John left, I felt incredibly grateful. As soon as I reached the dormitory building, I spotted a familiar figure waiting at the entrance. Michael Brown stood with his hands in his pockets, and just by being there quietly, he drew the attention of many girls. I instinctively tried to slip away, but as I turned around, Michael saw me. Emily Davis. Stop right there. Michael caught up to me in a few strides, grabbed my arm, and when he saw that I'd changed my clothes, his gaze darkened. You're hurting me. My once fair forearm quickly turned red and swollen from his grip, but he still refused to let go, staring intently at the hickey on my neck as if about to erupt. What exactly did you two do last night? What we did has nothing to do with you. Tears welled up in my eyes but refused to fall. On the brink of rage, Michael shoved me against the wall, his fist grazing my cheek and hitting the wall beside me. Emily Davis, you're a girl. Do you even know what self-respect means? Do you really think you've hooked John? John has countless women around him. He's arrogant. And with you, it's just a fling. How could he possibly be interested in someone like you? After saying that, Michael stormed off angrily, leaving me standing there bewildered. Back in the dorm, I looked at the note John had left, searched for his contact on WeChat, and added him. To my surprise, he accepted while I was showering. I've been training all morning. How are you feeling? Any better? I replied while drying my hair. Much better. Thank you so much for last night. How about I treat you to dinner? After sending that, he didn't respond. I felt awkward, thinking that many girls probably asked John out, and he might think I'm scheming something. But half an hour later, he replied quickly. Sure. There's a place I've been wanting to try. How about you wait for me after training tonight and we go together? I was a bit surprised John wasn't at all like the impression I had or what others said about him. He seemed quite approachable. Soon it was evening. After class, I waited for John at the gym entrance as agreed. But instead of John, I saw the campus beauty and Michael Brown nearby. Michael had just finished playing basketball, sweat on his forehead, and the campus beauty stopped to pull a tissue from her bag. Michael obediently lowered his head for her to wipe it. After that, Michael suddenly ruffled her hair and quickly pecked her on the cheek. His friends saw this and started teasing. Whoa, Michael, you're the quiet type who pulls off big moves. You bagged the campus beauty just like that. Stop talking nonsense. Michael pretended to be annoyed, pulling her into his arms. I pursued her, and she agreed to date me. From now on, you guys call her Babe. Got it. His friends joked back. Babe. When did you two get together? Was it at Michael's birthday party last night? The campus beauty shyly buried her face in Michael's chest and nodded bashfully. Yes. My mind went blank with a loud bang, and I stood there stunned. I recalled all the excuses Michael Brown had made every time I confessed my love to him. It turned out that he wasn't against relationships. He just didn't like me. At that moment, I felt like a clown. I turned around and wanted to leave, but unexpectedly, the campus belle noticed me. Emily, what are you doing here? Are you here to see Michael? The campus belle subtly took Michael's hand and said, I forgot to tell you. Michael and I are together. I know you two are good friends. The campus belle deliberately emphasized the words good friends and continued. But I hope you'll keep your distance from my boyfriend in the future. Don't bother him with every little thing. Okay. I stood there stunned as if I'd been hit hard. Everyone was waiting to see me make a fool of myself. Although my heart was bleeding with pain, I still remained calm on the surface. Congratulations to you too. Before I could finish my sentence, a tall figure blocked in front of me. John Smith had changed his basketball uniform into a t-shirt and still smelled faintly of soap. He looked coldly at the campus belle and said, I think you've got it wrong. Emily is here to see me. Everyone looked at John in disbelief. And one person reacted most strongly. Michael let go of the campus belle's hand and pointed at me, demanding, Emily, when did you start hooking up with him? Didn't you say you only liked me? I didn't expect you to be such a promiscuous woman. I didn't expect Michael to say such things about me. But John acted before I could. He actually punched Michael in the face and said, You have no right to talk to her like that. Michael got angry too. After reacting, he fought back. The two of them started wrestling with each other without caring about their image. In the end, when the security guards pulled them apart, neither of them was willing to apologize. John said, he was the one who spoke rudely first. Michael said, he was the one who threw the first punch. He should apologize first. As it was getting dark, one of their friends came up with an idea. By the way, I remember you two are from different departments. There's a basketball game in 3 days. The one who loses will apologize first. The two of them agreed to this proposal in unison. When the campus belle took Michael away, Michael didn't forget to threaten. Don't worry. In 3 days, I'll definitely lead my team to beat you. Then I'll make you kneel down and apologize to me obediently. John replied. Let's wait and see. It was already very late when John and I got to the restaurant. I didn't expect such a cold-looking person to come to such a down-to-earth place. The place he asked me to treat him was a small, shabby diner that seemed to have been open for many years. The tables and chairs inside were old but clean without a single spot of grease. John, it's rare for you to bring a girl here to eat, said the smiling old lady as she placed 2 bowls of steaming beef noodles in front of us. Through chatting, I learned that this old lady was a former neighbor of John's family. She had watched John grow up since John went to college. He had visited the old lattice diner every year and always secretly slipped money to her. Grandma, you go and get busy first, John said, blushing, which made him look kind of cute. Maybe because I let my guard down. My conversation with John gradually became more lively. I didn't expect him to be so different from what I'd thought. He not only knew a lot but also took the initiative to talk about some topics. So the conversation never got dull. When we were about to leave, the old lady suddenly grabbed my hand and secretly pulled me to a corner. Child, Grandma can tell that John likes you. I've never seen him like anything since he was a kid. John is good looking, has good grades, and has excellent character. If you don't have a boyfriend, you can consider him. After what the old lady said, I suddenly blushed. Looking at John, who was patiently waiting for me with my scarf in his hand not far away, I said uncomfortably, I know, Grandma. I'll think about it. When John walked me back, he noticed that I was a bit absent-minded and asked, Did Grandma say something to you before she left? She's old and prone to being muddled. Don't take what she said to heart. I stopped and looked at John seriously. This might sound a bit narcissistic, but Grandma just said that you like me. Although I don't know why or when you started liking me. I'm just an ordinary and plain girl. You're very excellent. And I think I'm not good enough for you. Moreover, I looked down at my toes and kicked a pebble on the road. I just went through what happened with Michael. I'm a bit skeptical about love now, so I don't have any thoughts of being in a relationship for the time being. John stopped walking. A flash of disappointment crossed his eyes. But he still gently tied the scarf around my neck and said, I know you're sad now, and you might find it strange that I like you. But please don't reject me in a hurry. Can you give yourself some time to get to know me? Maybe after you get to know me, you'll gradually like me too. I looked at the so-called cold-hearted John in disbelief, feeling the warmth of the scarf, and asked, When did you start liking me? John smiled gently, with a confident look in his eyes as if he was bound to succeed. When you like me, I'll tell you in person, if you can't wait. After the basketball game in 3 days. If I win, you be my girlfriend, and I'll tell you the answer. Under the moonlight, the young man's eyes were as clear as water, shining with the most dazzling starlight in the world. I nodded involuntarily and replied, Okay. 3 days later, the basketball game arrived as scheduled. Since John Smith had to warm up with his teammates before the game, I came to the game venue alone. Hey, you know to come and watch me play, Michael Brown said as soon as he saw me. He let go of the hand of the class flower and took the big bag of drinks I was carrying. Don't think that just because you came here to give me drinks voluntarily, I'll forgive what you've done these days. Before I could stop Michael from opening one of the drinks, John Smith stepped out from behind Michael, snatched back the big bag of drinks, and said, Sorry, Emily is here to give me drinks. John had changed into his game uniform, showing his well-defined arm muscles, and there was a faint fragrance of body wash on him as if he had just taken a shower. If you want a drink, ask your girlfriend for it. Could it be that your girlfriend didn't buy you any? Michael gritted his teeth, raised his eyebrows, and said, Emily, when did you two get so close? The class flower stepped forward and took Michael's hand. Okay, Michael, we're about to have a game. Calm down first. Looking at the class flower who came with nothing in her hand, not even a bottle of water, Michael snorted and turned away. John, don't be too complacent. I'll show you how I'll crush you on the court later. Before leaving, the class flower gave me a fierce glare and then trotted to catch up with Michael. The game started soon, even though Michael and his friends tried their best to defend against John. John couldn't pass the ball to his teammates most of the time. However, he was still very outstanding and often scored a three-pointer to gain an advantage. The first half of the game passed, relying solely on John's efforts. Our side quickly took a big lead in the score. During the halftime break, John went to the locker room to change clothes, and I waited in front of the bench outside the locker room. While I was sitting on the bench, I suddenly saw the class flower carrying a big bag of drinks. She walked over with a smile and patted me on the shoulder from behind. Emily, why are you sitting here alone? She asked kindly. I thought about it later and realized that what I said to you that day was a bit too harsh. You're Michael's friend, so you must be my friend too. After saying that, she reached out and offered me a drink, regardless of the outcome of today's game. I'm here to apologize to you. I hope we can become good friends. Is that okay? If you can forgive me, drink this drink that I specially bought for you, she added. Seeing her sincere attitude, I nodded, took the drink she offered, and after hesitating for a few seconds, I decided to drink it. The second half of the game started. As time passed, if nothing unexpected happened, John would surely win this game. I stood under the sun. The winter sun was just right, but I was breaking out in a cold sweat in broad daylight. Soon, I started to feel dizzy. I thought of going to a shady place to rest for a while. When I turned my head, everything in front of me went black. The next second, I fell to the ground uncontrollably. At the moment I fell, the game was still going on, and I was still conscious. I heard John running towards me and then picking me up from the ground. The sound of his clothes rubbing was clearly audible. One of his teammates shouted at John, "The game isn't over yet. What are you doing?" "Emily probably fainted because of anemia. Just send her to the school infirmary." John didn't say a word at first and then said, "Whether the game continues or not doesn't matter at all now. Can't you understand that saving a life is the most important thing?" Michael still had the basketball in his hand and hesitantly asked, "So, should the game continue?" "While picking me up in a princess carry," John said. "The game won't continue. I admit defeat. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hit someone before." One of his teammates was a bit reluctant and blocked John's way. "Is it really necessary? We've all been preparing for this basketball game for so long. Without you, we can't win this game at all." John glanced at his teammate and said firmly, "It is necessary because Emily is the girl I like." When I woke up again, I saw John standing by my hospital bed, asking the doctor about my condition. "She probably drank some drinks with a high dose of alcohol, which is why she fainted suddenly," the doctor said. "Drinks." I woke up slowly. When John saw me open my eyes, he quickly put a pillow behind my back. "Do you think someone deliberately put something in your drink?" I nodded. "Yes. Before the second half of the game started, the class flower gave me a drink. I started to feel unwell at that time. John gently laid me down and said, 'You have a good rest first. I'll go and investigate. I'll definitely find out the truth for you.' After resting in the school infirmary for an afternoon, I suddenly heard a commotion at the door. When I opened my eyes, I saw Michael grabbing the class flower's wrist and throwing her roughly in front of my hospital bed. Michael Brown, don't need such a cheap trick to win a basketball game. I did this for your own good," the class flower said, with tears in her eyes, grabbing Michael's trouser leg. "I know you've been preparing for this game for a long time. I just didn't want to see you sad. So I put drugs in Emily's drink to make her faint." Proud as he was, Michael got even angrier when he heard this. "Even if I lose, I'll lose with dignity. If you don't apologize today, I'll definitely break up with you." The class flower wiped her tears, stood up, and slapped Michael hard across the face. "No, I will never apologize. Even if we break up, I will never apologize. You've been too harsh on me." After saying this, the campus beauty covered her mouth and left in utter despair. Before I could react, I saw Michael Brown with reddened eyes, trying to brush aside the stray hairs on my forehead, but I dodged him. "Emily, I'm sorry. I didn't know the campus beauty would do something so hurtful to you." Michael Brown's voice trembled. "When I saw you faint today, you have no idea how scared I was. Only now have I realized that what I truly wanted to win wasn't the competition, but you." I turned my head away, not wanting to look at him. I had fantasized countless times about Michael Brown confessing to me, but when that day finally came, my heart was as calm as a stagnant pool of dead water. "Emily." It was John Smith's appearance that made me see my own heart clearly. Every time I saw John Smith approach you and talk to you, I felt uncontrollably jealous, especially since he said he liked you. Michael bent down, kneeling devoutly by my hospital bed. "Emily, I know you don't want to talk to me now. Haven't you always wanted to be my girlfriend? After you recover, I'll prepare a grand confession for you, and I'll invite everyone we know to witness it." "Okay." At that moment, I slowly opened my eyes and said to Michael calmly, "No need. Late affection is cheaper than grass." Michael's face instantly turned deathly pale. He staggered back a few steps and said, "Emily, whether you agree or not, I will hold this confession. I'll send you the time and place, and you must come." Fortunately, what the campus beauty put in the drink wasn't too strong. So after resting in the infirmary overnight, I returned to the dorm. John Smith walked me back to the dorm. On the way, he was unusually quiet, and only after dropping me off at the dorm building did he speak up. "My birthday is in a few days. I wonder if I have the honor of inviting you." I nodded almost without hesitation. "Yes." We both silently avoided mentioning the earlier ball game. But I had a feeling that John was going to confess to me. That night, back in the dorm, I was showering when I saw a text from Michael. He sent me the time and place, but I coldly rejected him. Don't go through all this trouble for me. An image of John flashed through my mind, and I said, I already have someone I like. Stop wasting your effort. My phone kept vibrating as Michael's texts poured in. When did you start liking someone? It's not John, is it? I'm telling you. John is no good. You should stay away from him. I didn't read the rest of Michael's messages and set my messages to do not disturb. Soon, it was John's birthday. He had chosen his grandmother's small restaurant for the meal. I didn't know what he liked, so I went to a craft store to make cookies and even changed into a dress I rarely wore. For some reason, I arrived before John. Then his grandmother frantically said she got a call about a car accident on the street, and someone reported seeing John at the scene. In that instant, my heart raced to the breaking point. I didn't even have time to pick up the cookies that fell from my hands as I dashed with his grandmother to the accident site. My mind raced with countless possibilities if something had really happened to John. I feared I'd be devastated. I had finally fallen for someone, and thinking of all his kindness and the little moments we shared, I suddenly regretted not accepting his confession sooner. But when I rushed to the spot Grandma mentioned, there was no accident scene. Instead, it was a meticulously arranged party venue. Rose petals covered the ground, and every classmate or friend who approached handed me a flower. Following the guidance, I stepped toward the heart of the crowd, where I found John standing at the center, holding a bouquet and waiting quietly for me. I prepared 1,000 words, but in the end, it all came down to one sentence. He said simply, Emily Davis, I like you. Will you be my girlfriend? I covered my lips in disbelief, tears of joy streaming down. I will. The confession succeeded, and the crowd dispersed. Holding hands, John and I strolled across the campus field when I suddenly remembered something and asked him, but still, you haven't told me why or when you started liking me. John stopped and looked into my eyes. I don't know if you remember, but 3 years ago in the summer, we were in the same exam hall. A classmate wanted to win a scholarship, so he planted answers in my desk drawer beforehand. When the teacher found them, no one believed me except you. You bravely stood up as my witness, even risking failing the course. At that moment, I thought, how can this girl be so brave? Later, I found out you liked Michael Brown. Every time he rejected you, you'd cry secretly. But the way you cheered yourself up was incredibly cute. That's when I started wondering why this girl didn't like me instead. If it were me, I'd never make her cry. Then, on Michael Brown's birthday, he invited you too, and during Truth or Dare, we got paired to spend the night together. You have no idea how happy I was then, because I knew my chance had finally come. Input.